know, it's been said in Africa, men don't discuss their feelings. So I'm here to discuss something that I feel for.
Yeah,
Forms a soft part of me.
Yeah. Yes.
Non-turbo.
Okay.
You don't want to know what non-turbo is. Interesting tidbit about that.
Yeah.
RPM red line at 3750 to
4,000.
4,000. So again, so strange.
Yeah.
BMW 740i. Being driven by a woman.
Yeah.
One hand on the steering, another one on the phone.
Oh my goodness.
And it left me.
Yeah, yeah.
Lanes.
Yeah.
I just did a U-turn.
Yeah.
I went back home.
Motho.
Hey, Bob.
How are you?
Good, good. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
Nice
to see you.
Good to see you again. It's been a while.
I know. We are fathers now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but today we're here.
Yep.
Because of something that I think, you've discussed for quite a while. So can you just delve into why we're here?
Okay, thanks, Bob.
Yeah.
We are here farm, so we were always, and that was a distance of maybe 3 kilometers off road.
Yeah.
Bad roads at that time.
Where was the farm? If you
Luakabete. So not too far from Nairobi now.
Okay.
Now Nairobi has grown up
Yeah.
and subsumed Luakabete, and all those roads are tarmac.
Yeah,
but by that time, it was still the bundles. It was still shags, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that to me was a memory. If I'm asked about my first memory of the automotive world, it was pulling as you're moving forward and losing traction, right? Very weird sensation.
Yeah.
Now that, like I told you, I was about 5-6 years old.
Yeah.
Fast forward till about 8 or so years old.
Okay.
My dad relocated because of work to Zimbabwe, down south.
Oh.
So that was in the early 90s.
Okay.
He moved fast, settled the ground.
Okay.
Then, because we're a family of 2 kids.
Okay.
Then I left my mom and my younger sister here first. Okay. Then they were to join maybe a year or so ahead.
Yeah.
So he moved first. A few months later, I moved. This was the early 90s.
Okay.
When I got there, I found that the car he had bought was an E30 BMW 318.
Wow.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Again, the recollection was that I was used to the 309s. I was used to 305s.
Yeah.
That was a real step up.
That was a rear-wheel drive car.
Exactly. I was proper rear-wheel drive.
Yes.
I was short gear ratios.
Yeah.
I'd never seen a speedometer with 240 on it. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't know, of course, at that time, maybe it couldn't quite clock that 240, but I'd never seen anything of that sort, right? Yeah. And the thing I'd pull, it was zippy, right? So these were just snippets of highlights of the growth in my automotive journey. Of course, you'd see other cars here and there, but the ones that truly stuck. So I was about 8 years old, E30, 318. Then 2 years later, about 94, my sister now, my mom had come to Zimbabwe.
Okay.
They bought what is this? A W124 200E.
Wow. Okay.
And it was bought in Botswana, Gaborone, Botswana.
Okay.
So we went out to Gaborone from Harare, Zimbabwe, to pick it up and bring it back.
Okay.
Now this was yet another level of solidity.
I can
imagine.
Know,
those marks were built like vaults.
You
know, in this day and age, when they talk about the G-Wagon, and the most pleasurable part is closing the doors. Because those things just feel like clack.
Yeah, it's thick. Like air has been sucked out
into a vacuum. And just like clack, big, and you have to use force to. Now that car was like that.
Okay.
That was the first time I ever smelled leather.
Okay.
I was like, what? Okay, I thought 318 was on point, but this is yet another step up in stability. And then to sit in the front and see that hood and the 3-pointed star at the front, I was like, wow. And I didn't even know this was literally the starting point of Mercedes, because 200E, well, there was the 190 series that was a bit smaller and a version of the 3 series competitor. But that was just the starting point. And then those things had, I mean, they had a manual that was encased in a leather thing. They had a first aid kit in between 2 headrests. I was like, what the hell is going on here? You know, that step up, and I'm just like, hey, that 309, that seemed like a millennium ago, right? But that's just a few years ago. And that 309 in the context of the environment that we lived in, because it was farmland. So guys had Peugeot 404s and old cars, Datsun 120Ys, old cars. So even that was a step up. Because clearly I was seeing there were lanes, right? The drive back was quite interesting. I mean, rock solid car. Of course, my parents couldn't push it at that time because there was a running period. Because these were showroom cars. They were showroom cars. So for the first 1,000 kilometers, you couldn't really push past what, maybe 3,000 RPM, right? Which for the Mark was quite interesting because that was a car that didn't have any low down torque. In fact, anything between 1,500 to 2,000 RPM, it would shudder as if it was stalling. It only had anything 2,000 RPM plus. But that was quite interesting in terms of a highlight. Then came back to Zimbabwe. They would use the cars. And I think for me, the interesting now was a comparison between the two. So the BMW was a 5-speed. The Mark was a 4-speed, right? So you can imagine you had 5 gears to do 200 kph vis-a-vis 4 gears to do the same 200 kph. So the Mark would have very long gear ratios. Gear 1 could get to 60 kph, gear 2 to 100.
I remember my father had a 1 to 4.
He had a 1 to 4. And they had those indentations on the speed thing to show you the marks that those gears could get to. So initially, I didn't even know what that was. Right? But so even you guys had one?
Yes, we had one.
1 to 4, which one? 200, 230?
It was a 200. So I suspect ours was the earlier model because they didn't have those indentations, not the E.
Did it have the E? Was it a 200E?
It wasn't a 200.
It was just a 200.
I think it was, what do you call them? The KJ-tronic. It wasn't the proper fuel injected one.
Right. Okay.
You know, there was the KJ-tronic, and then now the E, I think was a proper fuel injected one.
Okay. Those cars were lovely. And when I think about it, even back till today, I think that was the golden age of Mark. Right?
I agree.
I don't think they've ever had it better. They ever made it better. I think now we've come into an age of manufactured obsolescence, and things are just plasticky and flimsy, and it's consumerist. So the quality really has been watered down. So those were 2 interesting highlights. I was in school there. In Zimbabwe, we lived there for a few years from 92 to about 95. Now I had another major highlight there. I was in school and we had a parent-teacher meeting. Then this blue BMW rocks up, right? The front looked like Knight Rider in the sense that it didn't have lights. It didn't have big lights. It looks like it had some small strip lights, right?
I know which BM you're going to mention. I'll let you.
It looked like it had some small strip lights, and I was like, those can't be the main lights of this car, right? Because even on the bonnet, you could see like there were some cuttings for where something is supposed to pop up or something. The rear had 4 quad pipes, right? BMW E31 850. Talk about lanes shifting
again.
Constantly. I thought 200E, dude, Dad, you've hit it. You know, really. I was like, surely, what is this? Right? I had to tell my dad, dude, I saw one of the craziest things. What is this thing? And he told me that was probably one of, because my dad was also kind of a car guy. In fact, I remember him telling me about how the present kennel towards Sagana in the 70s, he was driven in a Jag doing 265 kph. What? In the 70s. That must have been an XJS V12 or something like that. Because tell me, that thing was sitting on the road, and the way that thing was moving, he couldn't believe it.
I mean, that's the route to our shags. So I'm trying to imagine how the road was then.
70s. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, dad, I saw this thing here.
Yeah.
2-door, 4 exhausts, no front lights.
Yeah.
What is this?
What's that?
Yeah. What is this?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an 850, probably one of 5 fastest cars in the world at that time.
True.
I think that was the time of the Testarossa, probably Countach, 300 kph cars.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Who in my school was in this thing?
Yeah.
I find out it was some girl's dad. She probably was 2-3 years ahead. I should have punched above my weight class and dated her just to get a ride in something of that sort.
Yeah.
But that was something that for me, I will never forget. And this Bob is 92. When did you hear about the 850?
I heard about the 850, or rather read about the 850.
Yeah.
There was this rich Kiambu tycoon,
Yep.
I think in 96 or 97. He had one. And there was a photo of it in the Daily Nation.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his name was. But that's the first time I heard about it. Yes.
96, Kenya?
96, 97 there. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen one in the late 2010s.
Okay.
A maroon one.
Yeah.
Here.
Okay. And I think that's the one I'm probably talking about. Yeah, because it was maroon.
It was maroon?
Yes.
Yeah. I've seen a maroon one here.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Okay.
Zimbabwe had an interesting car culture. They had interesting cars that I never heard of or saw came to Kenya. There was this Toyota called a Cressida.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And even if you look at the car scene in Zimbabwe today and South Africa, they're still there. I've always wondered why cars like those never came to Kenya.
That's true.
But I would say that's, BMW 3 Series category.
Yeah.
I was also innately a very numbers guy.
Okay.
From this point, I would look at things like mileage. I would look at things like, where is my dad changing RPMs?
Yes.
That kind of stuff. I was not very conscious about it then, but when I think back,
you are very aware.
Yeah, I was very aware
Okay.
of such things, right? And I would see, for instance, and this was when we came back to Kenya, and I'll tell you about it. My mom one day was in the Mark, and she started off third gear at 30 kph.
Yeah.
And at 150, she was still in third gear, right?
Yeah.
That was the long gear ratio of that thing, right? But okay, now she was tipping red line.
Yeah.
But I was like, how do you keep a gear from 30 to 150 when ordinarily I would have seen them going up through the entire gearbox by that time. So I was very much a techie and would compare a lot of those things subconsciously, those numbers and things. And I guess that's part of what informs this passion that has built up over time. So Zimbabwe car scene was quite interesting.
Okay.
Seeing farmers pulling boats out there. Zimbabwe, South Africa. That was back when they just attained independence, before there'd been the slide in the economy.
Which is funny. I wanted to add.
Yeah.
My uncle was in the foreign affairs.
Yep.
And since like the late 60s up until the 90s when he retired.
Yep.
So his last post was Zimbabwe.
Oh.
Yeah, and I took a visit, I think 99 or 98.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm trying to recall if I saw that car scene that you're describing. I don't think I did. I think that's when the dip
had already happened.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting place that on weekends you just see guys putting boats on their pickups.
Okay.
Because they'd haul them a lot in their pickups.
Yeah.
That time there were a lot of Mazdas. And I think they were sharing a lot of their technology with Ford, even back then.
Okay.
Because when I look, when now if you look at a lot of the old Mazdas that are here, a lot of the old Fords, they're exactly like those Mazdas. So I think there's a lot of cross-sharing of platforms, even at that time, right?
Yeah.
So 95, we came back to relocate into Kenya from Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Now, highlight there, back to this passion of ours, we did a road trip. That's actually how we moved back to Kenya. We didn't fly in. My parents, because they needed to buy a double cab pickup. So they had those two cars, the BMW and the Merc, but they needed to buy a double cab pickup because we're coming back to the farm. And I think my mom was coming back to be a farmer. So we went down to South Africa to buy a pickup. So my dad bought a double cab, a Nissan 2.3 diesel. I think what's the predecessor to now, what's the Sahara? The Sahara, right? Yes. Non-turbo. You don't want to know what non-turbo is. Interesting tidbit about that. RPM red line at 3750 to 4,000. So again, so strange. When you're used to 6,000 RPM red lines, to have this thing that's at 4,000 and making so much noise from 1,500 RPM. So that was again another adjustment shift. Again with leaf springs at the back. So bumpy as hell. I can imagine. Well, we would only tell that when we came back to Kenya because of course the roads in Zimbabwe down south, South Africa, really smooth. But an interesting thing I found when we went to South Africa to buy it, that was the first time I walked into a BMW showroom. And so what would that be? An E32 7 Series? All those things with phones. That was the first time I saw phones on those things were so cool, right? I think even the higher end 535s, 535s at that time had those phones in them.
Call them handsets, I think.
Big things, but super cool, right? So again, just tidbits of the journey that were interesting. So the journey back to Kenya. That was quite an odyssey. We did it in the double cab and the Merc. So they put the BMW in a container and had that one shipped. So it was the Merc. My mom drove the Merc. My dad drove the BMW and the pickup. And I'd alternate in between the two. It was quite fast. I mean, we would be doing journey between 100, 150 kph.
I must say, then your parents are very adventurous. I mean, because back then, it was that journey from driving from South Africa here. It was after you've left Southern Africa. Coming into now like Malawi and the rest, these are countries. Here it was a bit daunting.
Malawi had some bad roads. We entered a town called Mzuzu at night and there was no electricity. I mean, and for us, it was a culture shock because in the 3 years when Zimbabwe, never had a blackout. Even one. In the 3 years when Zimbabwe and down south, South Africa, never seen a pothole. Even one. Even one. Right?
I can imagine.
Systems just worked at that time. They just worked. So going through a country and it's just potholes. Wow. Quite. Anyway, it was an introduction into what life was going to be.
When you came back
in one form or the other. But that was a road trip, a beautiful road trip.
Despite those challenges.
Small. Those are small challenges, and that's part of the enjoyment of the journey. So I think we went through again when we got into, because out of Zimbabwe we crossed into Mozambique briefly. Huge shanty town, huge. So a lot of things that were culture shocks, so to speak, but were part of the journey and part of the diversity of what Africa is, right? That were coming to the fore, that when you lived in an organized society, yes, in Africa, but you'd maybe take for granted, right? But quite interesting, right? Because that's the journey of Africa. That's the story of Africa, right? So that was a long trip. I believe it was about 3,000 kilometers.
I used to hear to take 2-3 days sometimes.
No, we were on the road for 6 days. 6 days. 9 to 10 hours a day on the road. And I guess part of what took a while were border crossings.
Those were really bad.
I don't have too much memory on that. I guess to me, I was more interested in the motoring part of it. The border crossings, that's my parents' responsibility.
That you'd have to ask them.
That I would have to ask them. But it was an interesting odyssey. So I remember Mozambique. I remember Mzuzu is the town I truly remember. In Malawi, I think I remember Mbeya and Morogoro
Okay.
in Tanzania.
Tanzania, yeah.
Then I had faint recollections of Arusha.
Arusha, okay.
Yeah, and then into Nairobi.
Okay.
So again, another part of my journey growing up that really forged this interest in the automotive space.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So came back to Kenya, continued life in Kenya. Now my dad had left a car here that I didn't have too much memory of before, but I now, of course, had memory because I'm growing in the present.
Yeah.
A car I did not like
Which
at
one
all.
Is this? Which one is this?
It was a JDM, a Mitsubishi Celeste.
I recall them, but not very clearly. Yeah.
Two-door,
okay,
coupe. And the thing I really despised about Japanese JDM at that time was the mounting of the mirrors at the edge of the engine.
Yes.
I found that thing looked so ugly. Because again, part of my slight OCD when it comes to machinery is the look of a machine.
True.
And proportions. And where everything sits. And whether it looks a bit masculine to some extent. The Mark was really cool because the Mark had this one big wiper. Right? That's another thing about those 124s that I'd never seen. What is this car with this big giant wiper that can cover the entire screen when you're used to two things going swish, swish, and a lot of times in old cars one not working. So it's just one spinning up and down. That was
a very cool feature, and I don't think manufacturers are trying to replicate that. Some they're finding it hard.
The other thing about that Mark that was interesting was that it had differently shaped mirrors.
Yes,
for the sides, right? That there was the box on one side and there was a rectangular one on the drivers and the square one on the passengers. Very cool, interesting features.
Yes.
Now here we have this Celeste, and my dad is insisting that that's the day-to-day user. Because of course we're back to the farm. That was our home that we'd rented out when we relocated, but now we've come back to it. Because it's off-road, the pickup is working, but now the Mark, the BMW, limited use in such an environment with such bad roads, right? So he's on this Mitsubishi Celeste. For me, it was just that look. I detested it. But I wish I had that car today, because that was a twin carbureted serious performance car. He'd bought it in, I think, Papua New Guinea in 79. Right?
And he got it shipped here?
He was a lecturer in a university in PNG. In the 70s. Right? So I believe he'd bought it on that side, then shipped it in. So it had it for some time. Now we're talking about the 90s, mid-90s.
And I think PNG, all their cars were Australian.
Exactly.
What do you call them? Imports.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So I wish I appreciated it more today. I would today than I did at that time. But as a kid, I was impressionable. So it was the newest thing that I was after, that I liked. So I was not too fond of it. Funnily enough, even my mom didn't seem to like that car. I think she was looking at the garage and saying, why are you still insisting on this old thing? Do I need to scheme to crash it and write it off for you to get rid of it?
Clearly, I think your dad was not saying something about the performance. I think that's why he...
Plus also, I guess he was a motoring guy. You have your machines.
Of course.
It doesn't matter whether other guys don't like it. You bought it because you liked it. You had choice. You could buy the more pedestrian mainstream cars of that time, like the 120 Datsun 120Ys, and but he bought something that was actually performance wise, right? So that's what we used for some time. So that was another important part of the memory. Now I'm heading into 12, 13. I go visit my cousin in Kikuyu. Because I had only one of two cousins who were my age mates. A lot of the others were a lot older than me, and maybe one or two much younger ones. Now, I check into his compound because they also lived on a farm. They ran a bakery. I see a 12-year-old guy driving a Mitsubishi Canter. Again, I'm like, Jesus, what's going on, right? I left this guy when we went to Zimbabwe. We were age mates. We were playing around. I've come back and the guy's driving. A canter.
No less.
No less. Now, by the way, I didn't find him driving saloons. I found him in a canter, right? I couldn't believe that. That set another benchmark for me. I had to learn how to drive.
I can imagine. That is like that's like you have to achieve that now.
Absolutely, right? This is the only guy my age. He's now become a reference point. And he's driving, right? Now, the interesting thing about the canter is because, of course, the engine is below you, the windscreen is here.
It's right here.
So even getting used to those bearings was quite interesting, right? But that now just set another benchmark for me that I had to learn how to drive. Luckily, like you said, I had progressive thinking parents, but that one was not. That one, let me give credit to my mom. My mom is the one who taught me to drive. Of course, she was teaching me with my father's machines. So you crash them, you'll explain to that guy how you even got here, because we're not telling him, but she's the one who actually taught me how to drive. And she was starting up a farm. That time we'd come back. So I remember we would go in the double cab to South Kinangop, because that was a place to buy cows. She was starting a dairy farm. That was a place to buy dairy cows. So she would drive the way all the way up there, get to the sides of Njabini. Now when we're getting in, she'd hop out and get into the driver's seat. And that's how I drive off-road. 11, 12-year-old. That's how I drive off-road, right? Get back, we'd drive around, buy the cows that we put in a lorry. I drive back to the main roads. Then she'd hop in and come back. Then, of course, now on the farm, go get Napier grass, go to Loresho, get chicken manure, all those things. That's when now I'd learn how to drive. Now I'd be back to the thrills of loss of traction. I'd look for puddles of water and whatever, get into them at slow speed, flow the throttle. You feel the back stepping out, right? So many interesting things about growing up. Grow up, moved on, school, college. No, school, high school, I think I had some high points. When we would finish school would be the time, I think if you are an enthusiast, you can't escape a period when you would steal the cars without your folks' permission. Of course. So me, I remember do a bit of that, especially the BMW, just as we closed school. So we'd close school, and usually closing times for school was mid-morning. I'd come home, get the BMW, now just do highway laps. Highway laps, 150, 160, lane splitting. Of course, we didn't have the kind of traffic that we had today. Move, right? But I had one incident that caused me to slow down quite a bit. I was driving up. Now I'm looking to go back towards home. From Westland side. I'm doing my 140, 150, 140, 150. I look in the rear view mirror. There's a small dot. I'm continuing. Now I'm back. I look into it, things grown big. I'm like, who's I'm moving? Because when I would do these things, I was always the fastest guy on the road. No question about it, right? But this thing has caught up to me, right? It's a big spec now. We go. I reach where I rerun. The thing is now here. BMW 740i. Being driven by a woman. One hand on the steering, another one on the phone.
Oh my goodness.
And it left me. Lanes. I just did a U-turn. I went back home. Because you see, at the back of my mind, I'd always know I'm doing something dangerous. Right? But now there was the thrill of what you're doing, because you're the fastest guy on the road. Now you've just been shown there's nothing you're doing. She must have been doing 220 plus. Because the way I was passed, I'm at the limit. And I've left, guys. But the way I was passed by that thing.
That can humble you. I can imagine.
That's the difference between 4 cylinders and V8 power. V8 power. That's when I knew, yes, there are more lanes here, right? But again, that just bolstered my love for motoring. That, I think, was an E38. The coolest 7 Series.
The one for transporter.
Exactly. That thing was so cool. Because I tried for a minute or two to see if I could tail it.
Yeah.
3 minutes later, she was gone. She was gone. I just did my U-turn. Just took the car home.
Yeah.
Let the day end okay.
I think the moment she locked in on you, she was like, I'm going to teach this.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Get into uni, first 2-3 years of uni, not too much happening in terms of memorable motoring experiences. But then I meet this guy called Kevin. Who's so interested in motoring, in motorsports. That must have been around 2004. We get to talking. Then one day I go to his house. He tells me, bro, you need to see this. He starts showing me clips of Isle of Man. That was the first time I'd ever had any contact or experience with the Isle of Man. And I tell you, that was a game changer. Because up till that point, I was not too interested in motorbikes. I was always a car guy, interested in cars. Motorbikes, not. I'd heard of ninjas. That's actually the max. I'd seen them in rap videos, right? Had I watched things like Talk and Biker Boys, I don't even think I'd watched those things, right? So I didn't have much interest in motorbikes. But that thing was mad. As in guys in between hedges with petrol stations and sheep. And they are doing like 250, 260. Right?
Almost 300 actually.
All I'd seen was Transworld Sport and recollections of Crivi and Valentino on racetracks. But this is not a racetrack. That's the first thing I'm seeing. This looks like an ordinary city. What are guys doing? Where is this? Right? So that got me again now, started getting me hooked onto bikes, right? So that's how our journey of bikes, and you'll ask him to give you a bit more detail on our journey of bikes. But when we left school, incorporated a company, started importing bikes. But even before, when we had an open day, we had a few guys bring in their bikes. And Micho had this FIA-grade. The late Muchilwa had a ZX6. And when I sat on those things and I felt how solid they were, I was like, okay, I could grow into this. Because remember I told you I was a guy of proportions. I was a guy of brawn. I wanted to feel it's something solid, right? And that was my issue with bikes. That from what I could see, they never quite felt solid, but this thing was looking substantive. It was looking solid, right? And I was like, we could do this, right? So we had a journey of importation of bikes. But that journey, of course, started with a very memorable one of me importing my R1.
I remember.
In the late 2006. That was an importation by faith. Because there was no standardized infrastructure and logistics, and people didn't do these things. So we joined the site.
I was in uni. I was in Australia then. I was doing my masters, and I heard you guys what you pulled off. Keeping in mind, importing, let alone a TV or anything. But we're talking about a motorbike. That was by faith.
Hey, that was a journey of faith. But I am so glad that we did it. Because it really opened up a door in terms of having faith in doing something spectacular, going forward and trend setting, right? So my R1 was the first one. I'd never ridden a bike. I know Kev, if I'm not wrong, went to AA on these 100cc bikes. But for me, when that thing landed, I had never climbed a bike, right? So I just put in his compound. The beauty of learning from my cousin with a canter is I learned that there are some machines that if they are powerful enough, you don't have to learn how to balance accelerator and clutch. If you release the clutch alone, it starts moving because of power, right? Then now you can learn the modulation of accelerator, right? So the R1 was like that. So I even think it would have been more difficult to learn on 100cc than on that R1 because that one you just let go of throttle, of clutch, and it would start moving. Then now you just have to learn how to modulate the throttle because of course it had a lot of throttle.
Although keeping in mind you had a very interesting, your past experience with motoring and automotive, I think helped you with that. Otherwise, for most people, I think they have to start with the 100cc.
Yeah. That modulation thing, you're right. Because even if I compare the Mark and the BMW, the Mercedes had a very heavy throttle. The BMW was very light.
Yeah.
It was very light in its throttle.
Okay.
So you need to be careful in terms of what you're doing.
Yes,
if you're a heavy foot, or in terms of modulation, if you're a heavy foot, then you need to have that kind of distance, right?
Yes.
So that was quite interesting in terms of their one. Of course, that was another real momentous part of my past.
Okay.
That will forever shape
where you are right
where
now.
I am, where we are, because it was us, really. Kevin was in charge of the logistics, and he'll tell you about logistics in his journey. Okay. It was really his logistics that enabled this thing to happen. And it was here. And we did it. So yeah, that was absolutely awesome. Okay. Of course, with time, I met other guys in the years to come who had a few bikes. Fast forward, we were riding on the roads, and we started looking at safer ways of approaching this activity of ours, which was to close roads and have organized racing on closed roads. So we incorporated. We didn't incorporate, we formed, because it was a society. It was under the Societies Act, the Superbike Association, which was a club, which was the pioneer in club racing. And we had successful competitions in Kiganjo, in industrial area. So that part went on. Unfortunately, clubs, as a lot of things that have happened in our society, disintegrate for one reason or another, which is not important at the moment. But I think then the next highlight for me in terms of my journey with motoring and motorsport was in 2015. I got the opportunity to go and watch a race when I was in England. So I went to watch a superbike race in a place called Andover. And the track was called Thruxton. Okay. Right. Sorry, you're going to ask me something?
No, I was going to ask, how did that happen when you getting the opportunity to go to Thruxton?
My girlfriend at the time was going to do a secondment. She's a lawyer. So my now wife, girlfriend at that time. So she was going to do a secondment with a law firm in London. Right. So she'd actually gone for 3 weeks. While I was still here. But as the secondment was coming to an end, because again, she was aware of my interest in motorcycles. And funny thing is, she learned how to ride before me because she was in uni in India. Right? And in India, that's how the uses motorcycles. Exactly, everyone who uses motorcycles, right? And that's how we met. We met on motorbikes, right? So anyway, I flew into the UK. We went to watch this race, and you walk into the circuit, because a lot of those circuits were based on old airfields, and they modified the circuits, and they're based on big farms. So we walked in, and for me, the sight of probably 10, 15,000 motorbikes just in a parking spot. That was, again, amazing for me to be able to see. Game changer. Then you can't see the track from where you're walking in. It's in a slight valley. So you would walk in, and once you walk in, remember, this is my first time to actually see a track. That ribbon of tarmac and the noise of those things. Those things with quick shifters. In fact, the first time, because I'd never even heard of quick shifters. By that, I don't think I'd heard of quick shifters when I got there. I was like, what is this pop? Right? Every time they shift I'm not seeing lag in between gear shifts. I've an R1, yes. But sometimes even now take time to shift up. Here there's no lag, right? And there's no let up of throttle. And where you walk into Thruxton, it's on the start straight finish. It's not even a straight. It's a windy curve, right? If you know Thruxton, I know it. So it's boo, 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 with the rear tire stepping up, because it's kind of drifting as they go around that corner. It's a wide track, so as they go around that, wow. I was like, hey. This is now.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought we organized races, but this is
something else. Yeah.
This is something else,
Okay.
right? And this is British Superbike.
Yeah.
Right? So just being in that race environment, again, was another spectacular step up in opening my mind into what this was.
So after that experience, would you correctly say that's at that point you were like, you need to bring this back to Kenya?
Yeah. Well,
I know you are organizing the TAS.
No, the interesting thing is, and Kevin might even tell you this, as early as 2010, because we started organizing races here in 2013 to 2014. As early as 2010, we were writing to South Africans, asking them whether they would be in a position to come and build a racetrack. So our thinking in terms of organized activity in a coordinated environment started when we were importing bikes.
I see.
Because we could foresee the numbers. And if you foresee the numbers, and remember, 2010, Valentino was already a 9-time world champion, right? Yes. By that time. We'd seen what the ecosystem could be like in some way. Of course, very focused on motorsports, but we'd foreseen. So we'd even started writing to the South Africans and getting positive response from them, by the way, that those guys they'd be willing to, right? Because you see, those guys built their country. I know they have a checkered history, but one thing you cannot fault them for is those guys have built infrastructure. That's true. And all their trucks and everything they built there. I learned the other day that when there was an embargo on importing of any machinery into South Africa, instead of building an M3, they made their own 333.
They did.
Yeah.
It was
simply for their own market.
For their own market.
For their own, and it looks a bit like an Alpina. Right? But simply for their own market.
And now it's a collector's item, I think.
Because of the numbers.
So
that was quite interesting.
So
UK, that was a highlight. Then 2016, the gods smiled upon me again, right? My girlfriend at that time, and I organized a Euro trip where we would go through a few countries, just seeing and experiencing, right? With the centerpiece for me being the ability to go now and watch a MotoGP race, right? So our trip started, I think, in Spain. So Madrid, Barcelona, and Valencia. And now we were able to go and watch the final race because Valencia usually is the curtain raiser.
It is.
It's usually the last race of the season in the MotoGP calendar. So that was 2016. Valencia. Then we went off to a few other countries, but we started off there. Let me tell you, Bob, that one was done now next level. Valencia, the city of Valencia the night before. No sleep.
It was like guys
are revving their bikes the whole night. Whole night in Valencia. And we're staying in a fairly upmarket area in an apartment block with, thick stone, well-clad, insulated. But you still can't sleep. These guys were revving their bikes all night long. Now, our journey from the city to the circuit was on a train. It was all yellow. All yellow.
Oh, the colors of...
Who else? So again, now, MotoGP, if we thought 10,000 people was something, that was, again, next level. 60,000 motorcycles in a parking bay as you walk into the track, right? 60,000. Of course, you start out with Moto 2, Moto 3. Moto 3, Moto 2, then the GP. Interesting thing is, my wife could tell, girlfriend at the time, could tell the difference in machinery.
Of course.
Moto 3 bikes, she was like, what are those things that sound like tin cans? But I'm telling you, if there's something we all need to experience once in our lifetime, is the sound of a MotoGP bike.
I can only imagine.
Moto 2 are very, very, very loud bikes. MotoGP bikes sound demonic. You kind of want to open that engine and find out what's going on. What's going on? It feels like an exorcism that is happening. They are but totally different. It's not normal. It's not loud. It's not even the loudness that's the issue. It's the sound. It just sounds
I know what you're
different,
saying. Yeah.
right?
And words can't describe it. Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah.
So that was an experience on its own.
Okay.
2018, I got the chance to do it again.
Okay.
This time it was Thailand.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Thailand was another very interesting take. Why? The Thai people have they're very steeped in their traditions.
Yes. Yeah.
So as much as they embrace the modern world and technology and westernization, they see how to infuse it into their traditions. So for instance, when we went to the Buriram circuit in Thailand, the toilets were renovated 1970s buses.
Wow.
Right? With all the murals of the Thai gods.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Those were the buses. So when they'd fill up, I guess they would drive off to some sort of sewage plant, empty, come back.
Wow.
That was so cool.
That was cool.
As in a Thai take on a modern sport. Right?
Yeah.
And these are all things that are filtering in my mind. Because I'm a finance and investment professional at this time. I'm an investment advisor, but I'm an enthusiast on this side. So there's a percolation of thoughts that's happening in my mind. And that's part of the story that we're saying we now want to live with people going forward. In terms of that fermentation of thought. What has it fermented to? And what do we want to do going forward? So all those things are coming in. Those guys, the Thais are also very interesting. They have this tuk-tuk that looks like a metastasized cancerous Kenyan tuk-tuk. They're big. Then they've all put this loud pipe on them. But they are not annoying because it's standardized. So it's culture. It's their culture. They have a culture of putting big pipes on their pickups and their tuk-tuks. They have a street food culture that is clean, right? It's street food, but it's clean, right? So I looked at that motorsport and I'm like, this is motorsport tourism, right? Yes, it's motorsport, but it's tourism as well, because Buriram is 400 kilometers from Bangkok, and you check into Bangkok, get into an overnight train, and you're in Buriram. A full, the 3 trains, the last 3 or 4 trains to Buriram are just MotoGP. So again, that's economy. That's an economy. You're shifting it. And the way they've shifted it out of Bangkok, right? They're decentralizing all this. So it's not a concentration, right?
Makes you think, we always peg our economy
to Nairobi.
To back in the 70s, to Thailand, Singapore. And now you're telling me that, you're seeing this infusion of culture and
absolutely. So it's good to embrace the Western world, but do you have a local take on it, right? Because otherwise then you've just brought in everything. And there's nothing memorable about that. So those are things that I remember about Thailand, right? When we talk about MotoGP, I don't want to remember MotoGP in Thailand that was similar to Valencia, right? That's Europe. So there's their take on that. But this is a country that's steeped in traditions. So the last one that I was able to attend so far, there were rumors Valentino is retiring. 2017, 2018.
Yes, I remember those.
I had to go see him one more time.
What?
Right? So I got an opportunity somehow in 2019. Now I had choices. There was a choice to go and watch him in Austria. What was the other one? Brno, I think, at the time, and Mugello. Right? Naturally, the choice came to Mugello. But Mugello also, the choice came, and even my choices of Valencia and Thailand were based on the fact that when I did a bit of homework on what were the best tracks for a spectator to see as much of the track as possible, those are the ones that came up. You see, me, I'm an African who's saving a full year to go and watch one race. I don't have the luxury of following the circuit, especially when it's in Europe and you can go from country to country. That's true. So me, that's my one time. I don't know when I'll be back here again. So I want to be able to see as much as possible. I don't want to be in one corner. I've flown halfway across the world. A weekend I'm spending here to be in one corner to just see one corner. I want to be able to have a vantage point that sees as much as possible. Right?
Actually, most people wouldn't even do their research on vantage points. But that's impressive.
Me, it was value for money. I'm doing this thing. I need to have as much value. Okay. Also, I'm with someone. If she asks, hey, you just came to see one corner. We've come out all this way. I know you love it, but surely, does this make sense? So we struck Brno out because Brno is very spread out. Yeah,
it goes into a forest.
I would have not minded Austria because I'm a guy who also loves geography. So the setting of the Austrian circuit to me is the most spectacular on the calendar. Okay, and I chose Mugello and I'd come to see it's come close, a second close. But Austria for me was the setting of the Red Bull Ring.
That's interesting.
Simply
that
spectacular. You say that. In those Alps, when you see drone footage, because remember, some of these trips for us were also holiday and sightseeing. And for me, when I'm out there on holiday, for me, it's the sightseeing. That's really what I'm after. And Europe has some spectacular sites to be able to see. So anyway, Mugello was the place that we were able to go to.
Okay.
Now, Mugello is another very interesting circuit. It's set in a valley. Right?
Okay.
And if you watch European movies with their very narrow roads, they won't allow spectators to drive their vehicles to the circuit. So the only vehicles that were only accessing the circuit was the entire paddock. So it was mainly the paddock. Spectators had to walk. Now we had to walk a distance of close to 10 kilometers. Through a small town called Scaperia. So you alight at a town called Boho San Lorenz. Everyone, whether you are being dropped by, and that time we're staying in an Airbnb, maybe 30 kilometers away, with an old Italian lady who couldn't speak English. So we're doing Google Translate. So we tell her, drop us here today, come and pick us at 4 p.m. So you have to be there at that time for her to come pick you up. So she drops us. 175,000 people on foot. Because remember, all these spectators can't drive into the circuit. 175,000 people on foot. 99% going to see Valentino. So it's a ruckus. Ruckus, absolute. Guys have, these chainsaws. They've removed the blade of the saw, then they've put a megaphone on the exhaust. And then they are revving them throughout. Jesus. Madness. That's when you understand what pure passion is. There are parts of that road as we're walking. You can't see the road because guys have lit flares.
I know.
They've lit the yellow flares. So you're just seeing the guy in front of you. That's the only benchmark you're seeing. That's the only guide to where you're actually walking to. Magical. Absolute magical. That race was very cool. And luckily in the MotoGP races that I went to watch, Valentino didn't do too well. That was when he was more or less plateauing in terms of his whatever.
His career.
His career. But that one was quite interesting because Petrucci did things that we didn't expect. That's the race he won for Ducati.
You were in that race.
That was the race Petrucci, Dovi and Mark.
Where they won.
And Rins now I could understand underpowered. That Suzuki was underpowered. But the chassis was so agile that there was a corner he consistently was coming. He was behind Miller every time. And the guy would throw that thing in. And Miller couldn't. Miller could only catch him on the kilometer straight. So every single lap, Rins was just under and would lift those guys coming to fourth. Every single lap.
Wow.
Such an interesting experience. To even and did Valentino crash in that race? I think he crashed. The cumulative disappointment of 150,000 plus people. Luckily, Mark didn't win that race. That would not have been good. Luckily, it was a Ducati that won that race.
He's not liked in.
Maybe now a bit more this year, but luckily he didn't win that race. Right. So for me, in the run up to COVID, those were the main highlights of what interested me in motorsport and what has gone to grow me and mold me from a motorsport and automotive perspective. And when we went through COVID and everything that was about COVID, and we'll speak about this, I just decided enough is enough. We need to do something about this. Come back to the next one to find out what we did about this. That is my story, boss.
Wow. Very colorful. Just let's see if the other three, if the experiences are as colorful as yours, but you're all diverse, so it would be interesting to hear.
Absolutely.
So
nimefungua roho.
You're okay now.
And now I'm a bit better. I've spoken my feelings. So see you on the next one.
Okay.